So today we are going to get into a leadership live wire with a topic that is so powerful, although not discussed enough, not debated enough. And then we're going to bring that to you today. All right. So how many of you have heard of power distance? Yeah. In organizations, the PDI index, please let me know. Say yes, you've heard of it, or no. I'm keen to know, keen to learn. Let us know. All right. So guys, hey, Odin, nice to have you. Where are you from, Odin? Very, very interesting name. I'll remember that. Nick Karanisa, good afternoon as well. Nice and nice. All right, guys. Okay. So today's Leadership Live Wire, we bring a very powerful conversation. And what I want to encourage you to do is these powerful conversations are all held live. So we're reading all of your comments, all of your chats. Please, by all means, push that through because we want to hear what you think. All right. So as I get into today, we're going to be talking about power distance and how this impacts performance. Yeah, because everybody is getting back into the market. The economies in several countries in Asia, and parts of the world globally are all reopening their economies after the pandemic. Now, many of us might think that hi, Trang Peng, nice, hello, welcome back. All right, we got some Vietnamese friends here, gang, here to see our Vietnamese superstar. Okay, so hang in there. And as we open up and our economies have had enough of COVID-19, frankly, from a health pandemic, we're going into an economic pandemic come recovery, right? However, it doesn't mean that the uncertainty is over. How many of you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that the uncertainty is over. And more critically is how are our organizations designed to continue weathering not just the uncertainty, but the needed recovery, the needed innovation, the needed transformation, that needed digitalization, if many of you are on that path. So let me get into a little bit of introduction before I bring on our special panelists here, because I want to bring on the concept of power distance, okay? So for many of you, what is that? Now, if at all you're wondering, power distance is actually coined by a gentleman, and I will read out Hofstede. If you heard of Geert Hofstede's power distance index, it actually indicates, it measures the extent to which the less powerful members of organizations and institutions accept and has a strong belief that in a position of authority, there's a strong belief of inequality. Okay, so this is very powerful because we're going to talk about that and we're going to show you some statistics. All right. Now, for many of you, if this is interesting, can I just remind you to tag some friends, tag 3 or 4 friends that run organizations. They are either business owners, they are SMEs, or they are heads of departments, or they're C-suites in whichever part of the country you are, the region you are. Are you in Malaysia, you're in Vietnam, or are you in the Philippines? Please, by all means, just tag someone whom need to know this stuff that we're going to talk about today. All right. So if I can, I'm just going to bring you a little bit further, because power distance, very interestingly, any of you have heard of what we call a power distance index. Now, power distance index, PDI, the study that's done back in 2009 by Hofstede, actually shows some countries with high power distance and some countries with low power distance. Many of you are scratching your head. So take a look at some of the countries that have high power distance, okay? All right? And take a look at some of the countries with a low power distance. Now, I'll remind you, power distance is the extent that less powerful members in an organization expect that people with more power and authority have unequal inequality, and it's acceptable in a high power distance environment. Wow, if any of this is blowing your mind, guys, listen to this, okay? And if I can, just take a look at this list that I have here. Wow, How many of you can see that here? Guys, if it's not too small, okay, can anybody just type it out? Can you look at the first 10 countries? The first 10 countries, again, let me remind you, this study was done in 2009 by Mr. Hofstede. And who's first on the list, gang? Can you see it? Like, whoa. Okay. But more interestingly, and I want to ask our Malaysians here. I want to ask Malaysians in the room, how many of you think that Malaysia should be number one in terms of power distance index? Like, holy cow, are we number one? Number one in believing that there is a acceptable inequality when it comes to authority. If I'm the boss, you don't question the boss. He cannot be wrong. Oh, okay. And if you take a look at, and I just want to throw this out before I bring the panelists on, there's a little bit of contextualizing that I'm doing here. Have a look at how we compare with the highest 10 and the lowest 10. Now take a look at this. The lowest 10, sorry, it's not 10, but I took 15 companies, guys. Just take a look at that. What is the difference? The companies that have the highest top 10 in power distance index compared to the lowest 15 companies. What do you see? The United States, you see Sweden, you see Switzerland, you see Australia, you see Denmark. How many of you can draw the difference? Tell me what the differences are between those two nations. The one on the left and the one on the right. Okay, I really want to hear from you. What is the difference here? On one end, you see Malaysia, you see Russia, you see Mexico. And on the other end, you see all those other European countries, a few. So contextualizing this, we are going into a very powerful conversation on power distance and what this has to do with organizations that you run. Feel free to tell me, I don't think our PDI is that high. I really don't think so. So if I can, I want to bring up our panelists. How many of you are excited to have an awesome discussion here? Say yeah. If you are, let's rock and roll. Okay, so the first person that I want to bring up, all right, is Coach Jean. Okay, so everybody help me warmly welcome Coach Jean onto our floor. All right, let's rock and roll.
Thanks, Marissa. Woo. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here again. I am a leadership coach with the Spark Group Asia, and I am, just excited because I love business, I love HR, and today's topic is just so hot. All right, guys, so just want to hear from you guys, and let's just share together what we think about power distance, where we work today. Back to you, Marissa.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you so much, Jean. I think this topic is really hot, not debated enough, but it is going to really take us places. So the next person that I want to bring up, none other than, without further ado, is Coach Elin. So everybody join me. Welcome, Coach Elin. Woohoo! Hey!
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, it's good to be back here in this live wire and talking with all of you, sharing with all of you another interesting topic about power distance. I think is something that's very relevant now for us, and how can we, what do we think about it? I'm also can't wait to hear from the audiences that we have today. Yeah, thanks, Marissa.
Yes. Thank you. And we had her on our last live wire where we talked about compassion and empathy, and she really brought a whole other spin from the Vietnamese region. We want to invite, guys, warmly welcome our coach from Vietnam, based in Ho Chi Minh City, Coach Tina. Woo-hoo!
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for having a chance to meet all of you again with this topic. I'm really excited with this because I unbelievable that the power distance will be the hot topic related to the mental health care before. So we're looking forward to also listen to the wisdom from the audience as well.
Yes, yes, you're right. Absolutely, the wisdom of the crowd. And so I'm calling out a few awesome people. We've got Nisa in the crowd, we've got Noel in the crowd, we've got Yvonne in the crowd. So we've got like amazing people, guys. So give us a shout out if you're out there and you're excited too. We're as excited with you. So the first question that I want to ask our panelists here is, if we are looking at power distance, yeah, how is power distance, this index, how does this index impact the quality of workplaces? And when I say quality of workplaces, we're talking about quality of standards, quality of performance, quality of mental health, quality of caring for people, its employees. So we're talking about quality at several levels. But if I can, let me throw this out to the coaches here. Why is power distance index important to understand as we look at enabling the quality of our workplace? Yeah. Whew. Anyone wants to take this? Yeah, maybe I'll throw this out to Jean. Kick us off. What do you think?
Okay. Well, power distance. Why is it important? Well, first of all, I think just to set the context, research have shown us that it has a positive correlation to many things at work. You know, engagement is one, productivity, yeah, it's another. How much people communicate and have that sense of belonging with their teammates is another. So these are the hot topics, if you must, in the HR world. Like, how do I make a workplace buzzing and fun, right? Yeah, and here we have power distance impacts this fun workplace where people want to do more for you. So I think, to me, it is such a wonderful topic that we can talk about it today. You know,
Yeah.
so the power distance, yeah. It blew my mind when I saw, oh wow, Malaysia is high up there. Wow, Malaysia boleh, you know, Malaysia, yeah. So many of us are Malaysians here today. So I really want to hear from every single one of you. I mean, are you experiencing that power distance at your current workplace? For me, I can share, yes, I have experienced that. I can understand when I see Malaysia up there on the charts. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, I have seen that. I am still seeing it today. Research started 10 years ago. Now, 10 years later, I still see it.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to go in depth right now. I think I just want to lay it open right now, like, you know, get people to think.
Wow.
Exactly.
And you know, Jean, something that you said, and then I'm just peer on to Elin and Tina shortly. Something that you said, Jean, about fun, a fun workplace. It's almost some workplaces that we have been part of, whether we ran the organization or we were a part of it as employees, there was sometimes an element of fear. And I imagine the fear of making mistakes, the fear of looking stupid, the fear of talking to your boss, or the fear of, you know, that fear element is an element of power distance. So when the distance, the gap between authorities and the executives are wider, there is a prevalent fear to even speak up or share what you know. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Jean. Elin, why do you think the power distance index is critical to consider in building our organizations?
Yep. I think in addition to what Coach Jean has shared, you know, another area is about sharing ideas, sharing like innovations. You know, if there's a power distance, it's not just that from the top level, the senior level to the lower level.
Yeah.
Power distance also means that the lower level people actually accepted the fact that there is a difference in power, and as a lower level staff, I have to comply to it. I think to me that is also another area that we need to consider. So because of that, even I have maybe a brightest idea into improving a situation, whether it's in production, in manufacturing, in servicing my customers, in some innovative ways to better produce the products that I want, or even prepare documents. as a lower level staff, they may not dare to speak up, because what happens if I speak up and then my manager, he or she doesn't like it, and then what would they think about me? Would they scold me? Would they say I'm stupid? Or so there's so many things in the person's mind that they just choose to shut up.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
person shut up, we don't get to share. We cannot tap into the best talents that we have in the organization. And to me, that is a waste. We always talk about waste in terms of material instead of time. We have not talked about the waste in terms of the talent that we have. We are not fully allow them or empower them to, do whatever they can with the talent they have. We kind of box them into a smaller box when they can actually go out there and do a lot more. So I think, to me, that is another area of waste stage in that sense. Wastage of skills, wastage of talents, and the superb ideas that they can come from there.
Yes,
I mean,
the
just like what we
superb
have
ideas.
experienced in our live wire. There's
Yeah.
so much wisdom that come from people that is joining this call, this live. We learn so much from one another. So imagine
Yes.
we have a power distance here. Everybody only listen to us. Nobody say anything in the chat. Nobody contribute anything. It was just so much less fun and less interesting. Yeah. So it's the same. Applied it into our workplace. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're here to facilitate the conversation. Hey, Suto Siang! I just saw you pop your head in. Nice to have you. Okay, guys. Suto Siang has been, I think we need to give you a badge or a label or something. So thank you for being here. Very consistent. Nick Khairul Nisa says this: Malaysians are more comfortable with a high power distance approach. Oh my gosh. Guys, feel free to agree and feel free to say, we love that. I mean, guys, thank you for leaning in. Thank you so much, Nisa. Is it true? Are we more comfortable that, you just tell me what to do? Just tell me and I'll do it. Even if it's wrong, even if I think it's wrong, why don't I just do it because you said so? Very interesting. Thank you so much, Nisa. And then I'll get to Vietnam, Tina, to give us an understanding of Vietnam. Now, I noticed that Vietnam was not in the index, so maybe you can give us your understanding of how power distance is showing up in your workplace, in workplaces that you consult and coach over in Vietnam, and share with us, what do you observe? Yes, Tina.
Thank you. I think actually I also shared some data about the power distance index. But however, that data is 10 years ago already. I'm quite shocked with that, because in Vietnam, the PDI is quite high, it's around 70. But honestly, I think that maybe in reality, it's a little bit higher than that.
Okay.
In different region, then it could be a little bit slightly different state of that. So, for example, I think in Ho Chi Minh City, maybe it lower a little bit for the high power distance. The private enterprises or international capital enterprise. So it also impact into the new and modern mindset in running the business. So that's, I think. But most of the company, especially like state enterprise or family enterprise, private sector, that also have high power distance. I don't know, but I don't know, is that similar to Malaysia or not, but Vietnam? Because before we also have the royal politics as well, like kingdom. We have kingdom.
Kingdom. Yes.
And we also, in our family, we really strictly in communicating between members in family from a young age, with the title, many things like politeness to the higher superior level. So that's why it impacts into our organization as well, because it becomes tend to the unconscious behavior in how we react, how we do action, and even though in communication. But I would like
go ahead.
But I would like to bring another opposite angle of view due to the about the PDI, because when like before, I also used to be the employee in a corporate. So whenever I look at the PDI, I think that okay, this is not for the employee like me. We see that the higher power distance impact into workplace because impact into the employee. However, in the pandemic time, especially COVID, it not only impact into the employee, but also impact into employer, so the business owner. So that's why I think that maybe it could be the crisis, but now it's a good chance for us to see that the power distance may be closer because the obstacle and also challenging happen to everyone, to every level in the organization. So I think it's a very good, interesting topic to discuss more.
And I love what you're sharing here, Tina, because on several levels you're talking about power distance from family, a perceived maybe royalty in terms of how now, guys, we're not going to go into the conversation of politics, otherwise we're going to be here for a very long time. But power distance in organizations in terms of age, yeah, and I will put it out to some of you. Do you see power distance in how the different generations age? And in our Asian culture, our Asian context, yeah, if you are older, you have more experience and have more knowledge and have more wisdom, perceived again. Is that an example of power distance, and how our earlier generations are challenged with managing the younger generations? Maybe I'm sure, guys, these are some of the questions that our crowd is also asking, but maybe let me ask on your behalf, is that an example of power distance?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And how do you see that play out? I see Elin smiling. Elin, what are you? And I know for a fact, Jean, Elin, and Tina do a lot of work with young people, right? You do a lot of work with young people.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about this. Is there power at play? Elin, you want to take it away first?
Yeah. I was thinking, I agree with what Marissa says, with the different generation, the communication ways and methods are different.
Yes.
The older generations may have a different ideas about respect. Okay. Because I was looking at that, the power distance also have something to do with respect, the culture of respecting elderly people, respecting people that are older than us in the Asian culture. Because of respect, therefore, we don't speak up. That because of respect, whatever the elderly or the older generation tell us, we will do it. But I'm seeing a shift in the younger generations. They are bolder. They are more courageous to speak out because of the environment they're in as well. However, I feel that I think that the culture of respecting the elderly and respecting people who are older than us shouldn't come into like conflict with what we want to do, in terms of the power distance. We still need to respect, for example, the elderly and be respectful in our way. In fact, we should be respectful in all our conversation, in all our communication to anyone of any generation at all. How do we be able to be respectful at the same time still speak up? I think this is something that the culture that have very high PDI needs to learn. I still can be very respectful, for example, to people in my senior, but how do I still be able to put forward my ideas, my opinions, and my thoughts about certain things without being perceived, again, like you say, it's perceived. As respectful to the elderly. So I think that is the communication style and methods that we need to learn. Because to me, I think, like Tina says, in the family, we still have to address people as uncle, auntie, and we don't call them by their first name. We still can continue to do the uncle and auntie, but am I able still to speak out my opinion or not? So I think that is the part that I would love to work with people on. How can we still be respectful but speak up? Yeah.
So that's a very interesting question, and I'll put this out to the floor. Our wisdom of the crowd is how do we exercise respect and at the same time speak up, at least in the Asian culture, where we're not here to discuss the American, European culture, because definitely vocality and speaking up is a thing there, and they do it quite easily, but it is maybe frowned upon a little bit in our cultures. And that probably creates that gap. So that's very interesting. Thank you so much, Elena. I love some of the comments that are coming through. Wilson, power distance being practiced in our political and social economic landscape, the gap between rich and poor get wider. Okay, that's a very, very good conversation, but we're going to keep it ring-fenced to workplace. But yes, definitely, Wilson, that's an example of power distance. Does races also affect PDI in general? Not asking because we're racist, but an explanation. Just different bringing. Now, we're not going to have a conversation on different races, but I think if I can, I'll just throw this out to Jean, if you'd like to talk about this, because I think races are just people with different histories, different cultures.
Right.
How does power distance make a play in people with different ethnicities? And we've also got different ethnicities here, right, in this group. We've got Vietnam and we've got Malaysia, right? But how is PDI different or same? Jean, maybe you want to take a crack
Yeah,
at this.
that's right. I think let's approach it from the cultural perspective, right?
Yes.
So all of us have a history. All of us are descendants of how many generations of ancestors.
Sure.
And if I can talk about, how does culture come about? How it's just the way people live. So if you look back into your own history, right? Did we come from a historical land where there was kings and kingdoms, where there was this title, where the king would sit up in the palace somewhere, and the rest of us are commoners. Yeah, so as commoners, how would they greet their king? Right? It would be, keep quiet and watch, the king is coming.
Keep quiet and bow your head, bow your head.
Bow, yes. So it doesn't matter what race, all right? So whether you're Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Thai, Malay, Indonesian, whatever around this whole Asia region, did our ancestors come from that kind of feudal system, kingdom system? Yeah. And I also want to call out, the other one is, the filial piety, seniority system.
Yes.
Filial piety, where you do
uncle,
have to
auntie,
call them by titles.
Yes.
And there are cultures where we would also pray to those who have passed on, and almost like a god, so you would behave differently from how you would behave with human beings. So I think that's the history that we come from. And the last one I want to call out, right? How many of our generations came from a colonized country? Colonization from another country. Yeah. So it's another kingdom that came to conquer us. So that created a power distance culture as well. Like, I'm lower than you. You conquered me, so I am subservient to you. So all these impacts our culture, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it's almost carried on and so forth from our great-grandparents, our ancestors, right down to who we are. But we are starting to progressively, I would say, make changes to that level of acceptance. Yeah, just taking things as it is at that big gap. But things are starting to change. I don't know about some of you, whether you've seen that, but it's starting to change. Yeah. So let me put this out, and maybe my question to Coach Tina is this: power distance. Is it? Let me put it out here. So is it good or bad? Is there a good to it, or is there a bad to it? Okay, so let me talk about good lah, because I imagine that our cultures design in a certain way, especially workplaces, power distance has been around for many years. So it must have served some good resourcefulness. So maybe Coach Tina, can you talk about where is it serving us to have the power distance?
Thank you. Actually, I'm not the beauty queen, so there's no right or wrong answer, because it's quite flexible, depends on the enterprise. One of the top answer is it's really important to impact the PDI impact by the business owner, the top priority, who allows the culture impact into whole organization. Because when we mentioned about the power distance, it's also related to the difference between the power and authorization. It's related to the hierarchy in the HR department as well as the how the team is structured. So the culture depends on the top leaders, because if honestly, I experienced that if the leaders, they are quite open, they are allowed the chance for the employer to speak up, to bring the idea, to express the opinion, then the employee will be encouraged and they feel comfortable and they feel no no criticism, yeah, no endorsement, something. So they feel easily to speak up. But if the employer, they also refer the power. They think that, oh, I'm the owner, I'm the top leader, and I'm the one final decision maker. So you just contribute ideas to me. So that's not good or bad. However, I think that I really love the idea from Eileen in Genie about speak up, allow the employee to speak up. But I remember my boss before, he gave me the very good advice. If you would like to speak up, come to me with solution, not come to me with problems. Because most of the employee with that, they really like you just mentioned, fear. Okay, I will speak up, but I just speak up the problem that I got. I just pick up the issue. Boss, I have this problem. I have this. I speak up already. So that's why more and more it becomes a burden on the employer. Okay, you speak up, but just the problem. How can I solve? So, and you don't have the solution. Okay, I will make the solution. I will make the decision. So that's why it's also impacts. I think that, okay, speak up good with the response, but with the solution. So with that way, if the listener will tend to feel comfortable to listen to your speaking, to your ideas openly, and they also refer to your solution. Then I think that's two ways.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. That sounds like a flat, a much lower power distance, where there can be a lot of conversations. There's no right and wrong. There is someone telling, instructing, and everybody is equal to be able to converse in the meeting. So that's, thank you so much, Coach Tina, for taking us there. I think yes, speak only when there's something valuable to say. Thank you so much, Chang Peng. And Simon says this. Simon, I'm not sure where you're from. I think Simon Tham, probably from Malaysia. The elderly should continue to learn new things in life, and the gap of conversations with the younger generations will be nearer. We're assuming, thank you, Simon. Wow, that's so good, right? But we're assuming that the young generation are the executives. But these days, we have a lot of younger people that are in management positions, and they are practicing either a higher or lower power distance. This is very, very interesting, Simon. Thank you for throwing in that. Love it. So let me throw this across to maybe Eileen and Jean. When we look at power distance from how is it resourceful? I'm sure it needs to be contextualized. It's not, power distance, no good, and power distance, good. I think where we need to know how to contextualize this. So can you give us some of your input, Eileen, and then Jean?
Yeah. I think power distance situations, I mean, the high power distance situations is also important during emergency, when we need to have an authority to instruct, to direct, or because it's no time to ask your opinion what to do, because there's emergency, we have to attend to somebody who is injured, or the house is burning down, right? We have to have that some very decisive and instructional kind of things coming up, or in the law enforcement situation, or disciplinary issues in situation, we have to address something immediately with this kind of emergency, this kind of law abiding, compliance, so I think high power distance is needed in that kind of situation. I would say that you're right to say that, Marissa, it's not about good or bad, it's about whether it's resourceful or not at that moment for that kind of situation. We still need to contextualize contextualize it.
That's right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And so when we talk about power distance, yes, there is a need for it. And so when is a lower, a flatter power distance necessary? Maybe G.
Yeah. I think a lower power distance is necessary when we want the diversity of thought from all levels. We want ideas to flow. We want people to give inputs. When we want people to speak up, So that means they don't feel comfortable if they don't speak up. Right? So in brainstorming sessions, when we want to see breakthroughs, in many organizations now, it's hard to survive if we don't have new breakthrough products, right?
Yep.
So if we have high power distance, when somebody tells everybody what to do, can you imagine? There's no new product coming out on a timely basis or very slow. All depends on this person.
So just a one man, one person, just like blah blah blah, yada yada. I think we should do this. I think we're wasting talent. We're not capitalizing on everyone's ability to come out and create breakthrough ideas. That's so true. So to lower the power distance, and I'll just recall back, and I'm just recalling back countries with lower power distance. Can you recall some of those names? And those are nations of innovation, nations of ideas, creation. Although we've got plenty of our own ideas, don't get me wrong. We've got a lot of our own creations, our IPs. We have a lot of them. But I'll ask, is that difference only recently? Was that recent? Now, this is very, very powerful. I love what Noel is saying here. We need leadership, but a leader should also be open to conversation and criticism from a group of people. That's the thing.
Yep.
If my power distance is high, how well do those leaders in high power distance situations accept criticism? Or they look at it as you're attacking me.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, guys. Does this happen in your cultures as well? Yeah, maybe Tina. Wow.
Yeah.
This is
very good input, Noel. I think that that's why, first of all, because before jumping to this answer, I think that the younger generation, they also have the tendency of the lower power distance necessary because they're more modern. When we look at, if we research about the PDI, we also look at that under the PDI, there's 5 aspects of that. In that, there's term about collectivism and individualization. So individualism, I think that is the new trend about the young generation. So that's why they more focus their own center. So they will input, they will come up with the ideas, and that's why we call brainstorm, because the brainstorm is come from every member of the team. So I think nowadays the company, they also have the activity like circle sharing or like the question, get the 360 feedback from the employee, also how the employer to have the like official way to receive the feedback with no name there.
Anonymous.
Anonymous. Contribute ideas. So it's also the good way. Then the employer can receive many inputs, but the employee feel comfortable give outputs because at that time no one know me contribute anything. And I think some big corporate like MNC, they do quite well with the frequent 360 or circle sharing, or they also have some section like brainstorming or speak up section.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That is actually very,
I was just thinking, Marissa, I was thinking, we were just talking about it's not good or bad. Because I was just thinking about our COVID situation. COVID situation. How did China manage it, and how did US, UK, right? So completely opposite ways of management. So one's high power distance, China. One's lower power distance, UK, US. So in a COVID situation, it's crisis, right? Like Coach Eileen said, it's like, gosh, guys, we got to do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, And you can see how fast it turns around when power distance works well for a place like China. But then when you say the same thing in US, you know what happens?
Oh,
Major riots.
yeah, riots. People are not happy. You know, because freedom of speech and freedom of whether I want to put these vaccines in my body.
Yeah, you're violating my privacy.
You're violating my space, my right.
So,
very good example.
So high power distance doesn't work well in emergency situations. You know. I think we gotta know when to have high and low power distance as a leader.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm thinking like, gosh, we're talking about generations, right? The older generations have to learn to be lower PDI. Now we have the younger generations that have to learn in a way to sometimes be higher PDI.
Oh,
yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's contextualizing.
Easy, huh?
When you mentioned about that, it recalled me about how to make like long-term orientation and short-term orientation, because a higher power distance also bring the very good things for the company. That is the long-term orientation. It means that loyal employee. Yeah, they really refer that with the high power distance, that's the advantages. But vice versa for the lower, then because they have the very open and bright and individualism. So whenever anything not meet my expectation or not meet my desire, I quit the job. So that's why the young generation, they don't have the short-term orientation. They have short-term orientation. So okay, that's why they have high requirement in culture, in other aspects. When they apply for a job or when they jump into the job, they not only accept, give the acceptance, but they also evaluate the environment or something, and they give them a space to make decision. Okay, I will work with this company longer term or short term. So that was a very interesting thing.
It's a very interesting conversation because the younger generation requires a lower power distance where they want to be able to work very closely with their co-workers, their bosses. You know, it's a culture that they want, and because of that requirement, they could keep looking, you know. And I think I'll just recall a very good question that was posed earlier, because it's relevant now. I like to work closely with my boss in my jobs. How do I identify an office culture where the boss is more involved and work closely with his colleagues? So I mean, if I am that kind of younger executive and professional, how do I identify a culture that has a lower, flatter power distance? What can I look out for? Anyone want to take this? Jean,
you're talking about the workplace, Marisa?
Yeah, workplaces. Workplaces. Very good question put out here.
Workplaces. Yeah. So you were saying, what are some characteristics that you see in a lower PDI workplace?
Yep.
Right. So, yeah, I was just thinking, having the thought of how high or low PDI in your workplace actually impacts the employee benefits and the schemes that we do. So just to trigger everybody's thoughts, right? When we're lower PDI, it means your office has no different sizes. Like if you're a higher level boss, you don't have a bigger office, a more fanciful office, but everyone sits at the same kind of table, no matter what level you are. Yeah, another one is the parking space, right? Parking spaces. Bosses get to park right in front of the lobby, you know, while lower levels park far away. You got to walk half an hour to get to the building. Another thing I'm seeing that's changing is tiered benefits, right? Lower levels have lower benefits, higher levels, yes. So that affects medical benefits. All your allowances, all are tiered. Lower PDIs, I'm seeing more corporations now, multinationals, where you want to reduce costs, increase by literally changing the benefits to be not so tiered.
Right.
Literally, like, gosh, everyone parks the same place, sits at the same kind of table, have the same kind of medical benefits, because these are common to all.
Yeah.
So I'll differentiate it in other ways.
Yeah.
Performance, performance. Or
Yeah. Or loyalty or retention. How long you've been with the organization, that you deserve, maybe more benefits. I think this also reminded me of the conversation of when you talk about benefits, those special lanes. Where I can't remember which article it was. The prime minister of that country was at the supermarket holding his basket. He shops like everybody else, not shut down the whole market and then I'm in here to buy some broccoli, 20 minutes, I'm just, just me, or do I have to shut down a whole restaurant because, the chief minister is here? Power distance, again, examples of that, so that's very interesting that you brought up benefits and how it's designed. So that's a very, very good response for Nisa. Yeah, I'm just going to look at some of these really, really good comments, and I'm going to go to how do we contextualize the power distance. So obviously now, if I can, it may seem like there is more power distance than we like. So how do we reduce? What do we do to reduce and flatten the power distance? Because my question is also this, I'm thinking, is power distance something that only employees want? Because bosses, I don't mind the power distance. Yeah, hello. I'm asking this, is this something that only employees want? And if so, how much can the bosses, the leaders do to reduce that power distance? So that's my next question. But I'm going to read some really cool stuff here. Wilson, upbringing. Wow, upbringing is important in cultivating a speak up culture. Parents must encourage their children to speak up and share their problems. Yes, they got to do it from when they're young. Yes, to be open to listening to their grouses. Many positives can be achieved when problems are solved together. That's right.
That's right.
Fantastic. Because sometimes when we're young, when we open up and share our grouses, it's seen as complaining or being emotional. That's also another thing. So that's something that we have to be able to speak up on. Noel talks a bit more on, in my opinion, high PDI is needed when people should listen for proper instructions. Yes, in emergency, thank you. Lower PDI is needed when employees should open up their concerns and their problems. When we want to innovate, when there are many ways of doing a said something, that's where we need to go into a lower PDI. Suto Xiang, oh, I love this. Older and younger generations should learn from each other. Young generations should take the experience that older generations achieved. Older generations should take the opportunity to learn from the younger generation on new products, new systems. By sharing, respect each other, and stronghold productivity can grow despite the different levels of generations. Wow! Thank you, Suto Xiang. Thank you, Noel. And thank you, Wilson. That's amazing stuff. So let's quickly go into how do we flatten. We are going into an area of recovery. All of our businesses, and I know I've got a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs in this room. And in that recovery, I also ask, with the power distance, is it just the boss or the leader shouldering? Because of the power distance, they shoulder all the responsibilities to take the organization further. But in actual fact, we get to do this together. We had this conversation about burnout, right? So if I can, where we are headed, innovation, transformation, I don't think it is a bigger power distance. It's probably flat. How do we do this?
I think it's so tough. It's tough. It's tough to change, for sure. I think the first thing is for us to recognize that it is a mindset shift required.
Got it.
Right? Because we're asking people to behave differently. But it's hard to behave differently unless you get it in like your head first. Like, why should I? What benefit am I going to get out of this? So I believe that everybody is after the same outcome. I mean, ask older or younger generation, do you want higher productivity? The answer is yes. But older and younger will give you a different approach to get higher productivity, right? Right. So I think first is for me, it's like that culture of speaking up. If it's not yet in that company, just to create a culture to allow people to speak up, it's a huge thing, not easy. I don't think it's easy for like the boss to do it, nor is it for the people to say, boss, I want to do this. Is it okay? Boss is like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
So you can have a third party to facilitate it. I think it helps. It helps. So that third party could be HR or an external trainer, somebody outside there, consultant, whoever that the company reveres, that respect. If that person can come in and introduce this new culture, let's have this power speak up session, let's brainstorm session or fun session, whatever you want to call it.
Town halls, town halls, you know, where the CEO and his C-suite can sit in front and they are questioned by the team. They get to ask questions. They get to be grilled, you know. Totally fantastic. Great input on how we flatten the curve for power distance. Wow.
But Marissa, just to add on to that, even town halls is a power distance forum. Because
I sit here.
Right, the bosses are here, the commoners are here.
Oh yeah.
Now how do we get them into small little groups and like, bosses, can you roll up your sleeves and let's get down to understanding people's problems and let's brainstorm for solutions together. Because I still see many workplaces, they go like, hey guys, go think of a solution. When you have figured out the solution, then come see me. Isn't that the way the boss wants to talk? It's like, you guys go figure it out. Don't include me.
or I've seen some brainstorming. We all sit on the floor, we cross our legs, and we sit in a circle. It removes the power distance as well. You know, we're all in the same ship. Wow, love it. Thank you, guys. Wisdom from the crowd. If you guys have more suggestions on how we flatten the power distance, let us know. Let me go to Coach Elin and then Coach Tina. What are your thoughts on how we can do things differently to reduce that power distance?
What Jean says is right. Like, you know, either you get a HR, external consultant or coach, you know, to come in, a third party to come in and kind of rebuild the culture. The other thing, I think, as leaders, especially those that are in the senior position, we must want to do it. You know, because we cannot expect the lower level people in terms of their power, so-called authority, to do it, because it's difficult for them to do it from bottoms up. It has to be from top down in a sense. So as leader, we will need to be the one who open up. We need to be the one who set context for them and tell our intention and continuously help people to see that we are really open to it. You know, simple things that we may say that my door is always open. You can come in anytime, right? But that is not enough in the sense. We may have to like set up like a time, either one-on-one time in a small group, like Jean says, in a small group, you know, over coffee, over tea, over breakfast, over whatever, or lunch, you know, let's talk about something. And after that, the leaders must keep quiet and listen. That's a
hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to do.
Because if we have the session and we still continue talking, instruct, nothing going to change. But to really maybe ask one question, that's why asking questions is so important. The arts of learning how to ask questions is so important. Yes. Ask one questions, let them talk, and be. The other thing I would say that how comfortable are we if people don't speak up initially? Because they have not been used to the speaking up, right? Yeah. So are we okay with the silence? You know, still look at them, still encourage them, smiling. You know, you can talk. You know, and encourage at least one brave soul to start first, and really be very open to listen. And so that's one way. And the other way is that to actively seek feedback from them. How am I doing? You know, how can I improve? You know, and genuinely work on it. If there are areas that we cannot work on it, I think to me is the openness that we have to be. Okay, this area, I don't think I can work on it. But these suggestions, I think is good. I will work on it, and then show it to them that the leader really work on it. So I think that will also build trust with the team. Okay, I think this this so and so, this senior manager is serious about it. The suggestions I give, he or she actually work on it.
Right.
Then they will be more comfortable able to speak up the next time.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
for us, for the leaders as well, it's difficult. Like Jean says, it's difficult because it's a change of mindset, a change of habits of don't know how many years before that. So even if you face any, how do I say, difficulties as let's say, for example, I'm the senior leader and I have to do something that I have been so used to now. Now my team say, hey, Eileen, you shouldn't do it this way. You should do it the other way. I also need time to change. I think so. Be realistic and be open about it. Okay, I hear you. I'm going to change. But can you give me, for example, 2 months to work on it?
Wow.
We set something that we can agree upon, and then let's work on it. Yeah. So I think that has to come from the leader's perspective. While Jean was talking about from the organization's perspective, from the individual perspective, this is what we can do.
Yeah. Wow. So you know what, leaders in the room, as you are hearing this, there's a lot of role that we play to encourage. And what I really love was just taking feedback, and not just taking feedback, doing something about it, and being absolutely consistent. I love this. Performance appraisals are usually boss to employee. Is it ever the other way around?
Yeah.
It's another example of how perceived authority. Look, I give you the feedback, not the other way around. Oh, now then, how do we improve? How do we grow? How do we hear ideas? How do we encourage our people? And the powerful thing is, in many organizations, they talk about succession planning. But if that power distance continue to prevail, how in the world is that going to happen? How? Yeah. I want you to step up into more responsibility, but I still want to tell you what to do. How does that work? Very, very powerful. Love it. Noel, I think personality also affects PDI. Asking concerns, some looks very bossy, but actually very open. Yeah. So Noel, yes, different personalities. Fantastic. And leaders begin to encourage an open communication. Yes, thank you so much, Nisa. Awesome stuff. All right, Tina, what are some things that we can do differently? I hear Jean talk about the organization perspective. Eileen talked about, really leaders setting the example. Tina, what are your views? How do we flatten this?
Actually, I totally agree with Eileen. But from my own opinion, I think that the leaders, in terms of leadership, so I think that the leaders should equip for his or herself the coaching skill. Because we do know that we should create an open atmosphere, open space for the employee to speak up. We should listen. But if we also listen and we keep silent and listen, then how can they say? Because somehow, even though they really want to say, but they cannot describe the idea correctly and productivity. So I think that coaching skill is very necessary for the leaders. Because you don't consider that you be a coach like we coach like life coach something, but you can go very specific topic skill like coaching for performance, coaching for goals, coaching for solution. Then with this series of the question, you know how to lead them, to help them describe their issues, describe their idea, describe their solution, and describe their action plan if they are allowed to fix that by themselves. So that I think that coaching skill. Another one, whenever the leaders, I think that the consistency should be from A to Z, because at the beginning we allow them to be open to bring the idea and solution. So we should follow up with that, and we admit, we value measure their results come from with that. So we give the appreciation or compliments to show that we not only listen to them, but we also see how they prove their action, how they get the result, and we get the result, we compliment. With that, just like maybe just the first top case study, but the leftover of the crown of the employee, they could see that, oh wow, that, because before, in the very high PD environment, then someone to speak up, they are considered bravery, but not. So this should not not just like case study. So when the leader allowed that, then the rest of the employee, they say, oh my God, that staff, that employee are contributing good idea, and they receive compliments in front of people. They receive the appraisal, they receive appreciation. So it also the way to encourages me. Why not me? I have many ideas. I haven't have the enough brave to show up. So now it's no right or wrong. It's nothing. So I would like to be show myself as well. So coaching skill and follow up with that result to give the appreciation. I think that consistency.
Yeah, fantastic. Yvonne Ng says, I love this suggestion of picking up the coaching skill, because I hear you, Coach Tina, it is a two-way thing. You know, it's the employees really having the courage to do it, but it's also the leaders creating that safe environment for people to speak up. Not if they speak up and then, oh my gosh, that's something so silly. You know, didn't someone say that before? Why are you saying it again? If you shun people that way, you create an environment where people just don't feel safe speaking up, then even the brave will... It's not that they become scared. They go, why bother?
Yep.
They go,
Yeah.
She's not going to listen. He's going to do his own thing anyway. So why bother? Okay, very good. Yvonne said this, and I'd love to hear one last view here, gang, because we're going over time here. Yvonne says, I recently had some team members with this issue: employee engagement through gamification, to bring an equality stage where everybody is in the game, everybody is playing, everybody is competing, but it creates, well, I can't remember who said it just now, standardization. You're creating that consistency. Is gamification a form of consistency that we need? We're all on the same fair playing ground. Not you guys play, and as managers, we sit back and evaluate how you play, and how we play too.
Yeah.
That's right.
Totally agree. And in our country, it happened, especially like team building. Yeah, the owner create team building, but sit there and watch.
Sit there.
Similar like watching a football play or something. Okay.
You guys go get dirty. You guys go and get dirty, roll around in the mud, but I'm just going to sit here and watch.
Or somehow consistency in communication, like when the owner you relax, nothing, everything is come on. Then the employee come, they have enough time to coach. But when they're busy and they had the problem, so when the employee come, they forgot. Okay, what do you have the problem now? Tell me, Mama, quick. I don't have time. I need to go. Okay? And then you forgot that the consistency put into, for example, if you cannot train yourself as the coach, you should schedule the time like meetings or circle sharing or something like that, standardized. So it becomes the habit for your own, the business owner as the employee. So for a longer time, it could be the cultural environment.
Yeah. Woo! All right. Okay, gang. We're up to the hour and we're having an amazing time. How many of you are having an amazing time today? Oh my gosh, I am totally pumped. I almost feel I can talk for the next 3 hours about this topic. Yeah, I think the coaches as well, right? So good. But if I can, I'm going to wrap it up here. But guys, wisdom of the crowd. What's one thing that you took away from today's discussion? Please type it into the chat box. Tell us what you've got. Noel has said, as a leader, we should be friendly and open to concerns to our constituents, but we should look on also with limit. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Thank you, Noel. And as you guys type in your key learning today, let me go to the coaches. All right. What's one parting wisdom or insight that you want to share, that you want to leave with the audience here after today's very good discussion around power distance? Let me go to Jean first, and then we'll go around the room.
Okay. Yes, so many good stuff. So I'm thinking, what's that one thing? I think for me is with knowledge of both high and low power distance now, is to know when to use high or low, or everything in between.
Yes.
Because I've come to a deeper realization after this 1 hour that there's no good or bad. but indeed, are we balanced in our use of PD, power distance? And I think that's the power that we get when we know how to use that power distance at the right time. Yeah.
Fantastic. Wow, thank you. So the name here is flexibility. Wow, thank you so much, Coach Jean. Over to Coach Eileen. Key takeaway, key insight today.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of things. I think Jean had mentioned something that also I have in mind is about flexibility. The other thing is that as leaders, I think we need to take the initiative to start it. And I want to say that we don't have to do it alone. We always have a community that we can fall upon. Other leaders who wants to do the same thing, or coaches that we can help you. So never ever do things alone, but to draw the strength and the support from a community. This is a community that we have now. Even coming to the leadership life warrior, I see some familiar faces that come. So this is also a community that come and can draw the strength and the support from. We need to do it, but don't do it alone. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. My goodness, that's so good. That's so good, because I think sometimes as leaders, we think we bear the burden on our own. And that's the power distance that we create for ourselves. When we do, we create those, and we say, oh, I'm on my own, I have to shoulder all this. But actually, we have team. And team is not just that full-time employees, but team that just all around, even in other countries. We have got so many brothers and sisters here from all over Asia, and we're all here together. So you're right. We don't shoulder this on our own. Wow. Thank you so much, Coach Eileen. And Coach Tina, your key insight for everybody here today.
I think my key insight would be coaching skill in terms of leaders. I think coaching skill and open but respectful communication is the top, because we are Asian, so we cannot deny our cultural differences, backgrounds, and characteristics, and the culture is based for 1,000 years already. So we still keep that also good. We still keep our culture, but how to have the open communication with the respectful way is the art of communication that we need to learn. So I think that coaching skill and communication is the key for leaders.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you. That's also so powerful. The skill of coaching in enabling others. Love it, Chong Peng. You coaches, I love the ideas that leaders need to equip themselves with coaching skills to differentiate between respect and speaking up. Oh my gosh. It's almost not one or the other. Speaking up doesn't mean lack of respect. In fact, if that is an equivalent, then we won't speak up. Yeah, so and I agree so much with Coach Tina that our cultures have a lot to do with it, but we maintain the culture of respect, but to also share our views. Yeah, very good. Wow. Thank you so much, everybody. Yes, insightful sharing. I totally agree with you, Noel. 1 hour is not enough, but we promise to keep it to the hour. Everyone, it's been amazing. I really love the sharing from our wisdom of the crowd. I really want to call out, so many of you have just been so good. Your input and your insight made a difference today. So thank you very much, all of you. All right. I also want to say great thanks to the panelists here, that we have amazing experts. We have Coach Jean and Coach Eileen from Malaysia, doing a lot of great work transforming people and businesses. And we definitely have our sister from Vietnam, who's doing great work over there too. I mean, amazing amounts of conversations with positioning people's careers and helping them to go far ahead. Coach Tina, thank you for joining us today. When will be the next session? Suto Xiang. Magic question. Wait. Guys, I want to say this, okay? We really love that you are here with us. We will have this every 2 weeks, and most of the time is during lunchtime, all right? But I want you to do this. If you have a question or a thought or something, I think I really want my coaches to talk about it. Please write to us at sarah@thesparkgroup.com. Sarah@thesparkgroup.asia. Sarah@thesparkgroup.asia. And I'll invite not just our Malaysian brothers and sisters, Vietnam brothers and sisters, and wherever you are. Please, you want us to talk about it? Email us and we'll make a topic out of it. All right? Yeah, I'm waiting too. So stay tuned, everybody, to our Facebook page. If I can, let me just pull this up, everyone. Please go to our Facebook page, just like it. Go to our LinkedIn, like it and follow it as well. And definitely this video will also be available on YouTube. Please share it with your friends so that they don't miss out on the powerful conversations that we've had today. So without, Mapu, hi, thank you, Noel. Oh, I love it. Thank you, everybody. It's been an amazing time today. Look out. Thank you, Polio. Nice to see you. Thank you to all. Thank you for being here as well. So we will definitely see you again soon. Write to us. We love to hear from you. So that is all for now for today's Leadership Live Wire on Power Distance. And we hope that you're able to now make a very big difference in the organizations you advise, you lead, and the team that are with you in the thrive of recovery as our economies open up again. All the best to each and every one of you. Thank you so much, Simon. Thank you. Stay safe, everybody. Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Stay well. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
everyone.
See you again. Bye-bye.
Marissa, the way we get the question from audience, also we are the way we lower power distance between coach and coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Let's
just
call
free and send questions.
No power distance here, right?
Yeah,
no power distance.
flatten.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. Take care, everybody. Mwah. Love you guys. See you again soon.
Bye. Take
Yeah,
care, everyone.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.